One by one, more and more Republican mayors from across the United States who openly supported Donald Trump, some of them in multiple elections, are now realizing, holy crap, we're about to be screwed by this man's policies. Now, I talked the other day about leadership in Kansas City, and now we have Sterling Heights, Michigan, which is a town that is essentially completely dependent upon the automotive industry. And now the Republican mayor of Sterling Heights, man by the name of Michael Taylor, who voted for Trump multiple times, not in the same election, of course, but ardent Trump supporter, thought Trump was going to do great things. And now he's out there sounding the alarm bell that, oh my God, if Trump does what he says he's going to do, he's going to destroy my local economy. And he's right. Trump will. And Trump will do the things that he promised. But here is what Mayor Taylor had to say. We're still scrambling to figure out what it all means. If those tariffs go into effect as promised, it would be devastating. And he labeled it as potentially the single biggest threat to our local economy. Oops. Right? I mean, isn't that where we're at with all these Republicans suddenly realizing they're the ones getting screwed the hardest from Donald Trump's policy? Oops. I didn't do my homework. Oops. I didn't think leopards would eat my face. I'm almost getting tired of saying that at this point. Except I'm kind of not, because I also enjoy it. But here is the thing, all right? This is devastating. And yeah, the mayor supported Trump. I'm not going to say you get what you deserve at this point. I don't feel an entire city, even if it's a city that supported Trump, deserves this. But what they're, of course, referring to is the fact that these tariffs, on goods from China, goods from Canada, goods from Mexico, plus there's a lot of just crisscross border trade in the state of Michigan. If Trump does what he says he's going to do with these tariffs, it's going to destroy towns like Sterling Heights. It's going to devastate these local economies. And I've explained, plenty of times how that works. It's like going back to the olden days where the town factory shuts down and suddenly hundreds of people are out of work and the town becomes a ghost town. Everything shuts down and everybody moves away. A good friend of mine actually used to work on Ed Schultz's radio program, Troy Larson. He started going around and he's actually made some books, photo books, of these ghost towns that still exist here in the United States. Places that were once bustling epicenters of economic activity. And now there's nobody around for miles and miles and miles. Empty buildings, empty homes. The shrubbery growing out into the streets, taking over the roads. Are we on course to see that again here in the United States simply because of the desires of one megalomaniac in the White House? I think the answer is yes. And if you don't believe me, then how about we ask the Economists, right? Because also, in addition to the report of all these Republican local leaders realizing they're getting screwed, economists have now come out with new warnings for us. And these new warnings are that Trump's policies, specifically the mass layoffs and the canceling of government contracts, which also impacts local communities across the country, they're driving us headfirst into a recession already. Dude's been in office a little over 30 days, and economists are already saying, yep, we're headed towards a recession. In 30 days, he destroyed the entire economy that Biden took 4 years to get back on track. And Trump killed it in a month. Let me read you this. 85,000 federal workers have already been impacted so far. 85,000 people gone from the federal government. Jesse Rothstein, an economist and professor at UC Berkeley, said this. It seems almost unavoidable at this point that we are headed for a deep, deep recession. Just based on 200,000 plus federal firings and pullback of contracts, the March employment report, to be released April 4th, seems certain to show bigger job losses than any month ever outside of a few in 2008 and 9 and in 2020. Even greater damage will be done by the loss of federal government productivity. The workers who are losing their jobs were worth more than they were being paid. We are all poorer when roads, planes, and food are unsafe, when parks are closed. What's happening right now with the threat of the tariffs, with the mass layoffs, this is COVID all over again. And that's what we're going to see in that April 4th jobs report. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers will be unemployed by the end of February. So just a couple days left, folks. Hundreds of thousands. 85,000 already gone. And when we're at a point where our jobs reports are only 147,000 new jobs, we're not creating more jobs than we're losing right now. Just like in the early days of COVID that immediately plunged us into a recession as quickly as humanly possible. And that, of course, also happened under Trump's watch. We saw the devastation to local economies. Except this time, there's not going to be an immediate bounce back period after, a smart person gets into the White House. We were lucky that COVID hit in Trump's last year in office. And then Biden came around to enact better policies to help turn it around. We got 4 years of this, and it's already happening within the first month. 4 years to go! And it's already happening in the first month. So there's not going to be a new president 12 months from now to fix this. There's not going to be anyone to right the ship before it sinks too low. The Republican leaders across the country now understand that, and they are sounding the alarm bells. We are all in this together. This is not a left-right thing. This is not a Democrat-Republican thing. This is a human being thing. And we are all in this together. We will all equally suffer. It doesn't matter who you voted for in November. It's coming for all of us. Even though top of the income earners will not be spared. They can weather it a little better than most of us can, though. And for those of us that are suffering, those of us that will be suffering, those of us for whom the suffering has just begun and will get worse, we can't weather it. So, where do we go from here? That is a question that unfortunately right now I do not have an answer to. Did you know that you might be missing out on wonderful content from me? I mean, you're here already because clearly you like what you see. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, share them with your friends and family, but also follow me across the rest of the social media world. And it's not that hard to do. Whether it's X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, on every one of those platforms, you can find me at the username @FarronBalanced. Simple enough, right? So get on it. And if you don't feel like going to each one of those outlets individually, lucky for you, we have links in the description of this video to take you right to my pages across all of social media. So don't miss a minute. And while you're at it, make sure you're also subscribed to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel, which I have been hosting for many, many years now. We've got more than 1 million subscribers over there, and there is fresh content over there every single day of the week. So again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to this channel. And while you're at it, go subscribe to Ring of Fire at youtube.com/The Ring of Fire and @FarronBalanced across every social media platform that, of course, is not considered just a far-right hellscape. Well, maybe Twitter is, but that's a story for a different day.